Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to Moorish Talk Live 100. We're ready to roll, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. Welcome to Moorish Talk Live 100. I'm your host, Tarhaka Amana El Bay, and tonight is part 2, how the ancient Egyptians became Negroes and black people. How the ancient Egyptians became Negroes and black people. We have questions to go along with this segment tonight. Number 1, do the descendants of ancient Egyptians live in America? Wow. What is a Negro? Black, colored, African American, etc. What is that? Who are the real, original, absolutely indigenous natives of America? We're going to get down into that tonight. How long have the descendants of ancient Egyptians been in America? Who are the oldest people on this land called America? That answers a lot of questions. How long have they been here? And the 7th question is, and I should have a drum roll about this one, is America Egypt? Is it Egypt? Before we get down into all this right here, our special guest will be Dr. Walter Williams. He'll be calling in. And the number to dial into the broadcast is 515-605-9757. Press 1 on your phone. That'll give me an indication that you have something to say when we open up the phone lines. But before we get started, we're going right straight into the commercial, so I need you to hold your hat a minute. We'll be right back.
Credit card debt, okay? Student loan debt, lawsuits, child support, mortgages, foreclosure, secured party, and creditor. Get my free report. Go to www.tarhakadebtelimination.org. That's tarhakadebtelimination.org. What kind of trust do you set up? How do you use a trust? What do you put in a trust? For the solution, contact me, Tarhaka Amana L. Bay. Get my free report by going to tarhakadebtelimination.org. Driver's license, freedom to travel. Who exactly needs a driver's license? What did the U.S. Supreme Court rule about it over and over again? How does that work? What is proper syntax grammar? Get my free report. Go to tarhakadebtelimination.org. Fill out the little contact form, put your email address in there. That'll come straight to me, and I'll rush it directly to your email. tarhakadebtelimination.org. Hello, everybody. I want to introduce you to The Great Debate by Dr. Walter Williams. He single-handedly laid out the facts in this powerful debate against Mr. Munir Muhammad of the Nation of Islam, Chester Blair, a prominent lawyer in Chicago, Illinois, and Reverend Henry Hardy, a prominent minister in Chicago, and Prince Azio bin Israel of the Hebrew Israelites. This debate was hosted by a retired policeman named W.L. Lillard. Now, the whole thing was a setup by Lillard and his gang, but it didn't work. They brought what they believed to the table, but Dr. Walter Williams brought what he knew for a fact and what he could prove and laid it on the table. We are now in the age of knowing. The age of walking around believing in stuff is over. For your copy of The Great Debate, go to tarhakadebtelimination.org. That's tarhakadebtelimination.org, or contact me by phone. My number's on the website. Oh, and by the way, the lawyer got bust up too. The Great Debate. Get your copy today. Good day and peace.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I need to make another announcement on, let me make sure I got this right. I don't want to say it wrong. Y'all hold on a minute. Let's see, where you put it at? Where you put it at, son? Where's that? Right here in Jacksonville, Florida, at the Scottish Rite Temple, 29 West 6th Street, right here in Jacksonville, Florida. Professor Griff and Dr. Scott Whitaker will be here in Jacksonville, Florida. So if you get your tickets, and you can get down in here, and that will be done on, where's the date, man? What the heck is that? Sunday, May 15th, 2022, time at 3 p.m. Sunday, May the 15th, at 3 p.m., Dr. Scott Whitaker and Professor Griff will be right here in Jacksonville, Florida. For information regarding this event, you dial 904-438-8511. Contact Brother Umar Sharif. Dr. Scott Whitaker and Professor Griff will be right here in Jacksonville, Florida at the Scottish Rite Temple, 29 West 6th Street, right here in Jacksonville, Florida. Okay, so don't forget that. Put that on your calendar. And if you got any questions about it, don't hesitate to call Brother Umar Sharif. Okay, 904-438-8511. Okay, all right. Well, let's go back to what we was talking about here. Tonight we're gonna have a very exciting show, and we're gonna be opening up the phone lines a little bit later on. Because these questions right here, we done part one, but we need to get down into more details about this stuff, because for the past 3 months we've been here where I'm at, right down here in Jacksonville, Florida. We've been dealing specifically with your nationality, your indigenousness, everything about your culture on this land. And throughout the South America, Brazil, Argentina, the islands, Chicago, Detroit, New York, California, we put a microscope on this thing, and we come up with some solutions that you could do, because it all boils down to your own personal investigation. See, what you want to do, regardless of what you hear on this broadcast, anytime you come to this broadcast, and even if you've listened to past broadcasts, you want to do your own research on this stuff, so that you will know that you know beyond any shadow of a doubt. And then if you know that, then you can take this information and actually do something with it. I want to recommend some books to you. The Historical Origin of Christianity, written by Dr. Walter Williams, and the Historical Origins of Islam, written by Dr. Walter Williams. I also want to recommend another book. The title of this book is called Tracing Your Family's Genealogical History by Records, and that was written by a man named Dane Calloway. He's got quite a few videos on YouTube. Tracing Your Family's Genealogical History by Records by Dane Calloway. Okay? And y'all go ahead and get that book out. I haven't got it yet because I've been quite busy. We're down here and dealing with agriculture and stuff. We're growing these plants, and we're in spring, and we're going down into summer. And don't forget, grow your own food. Okay? Grow your own food. I'm going to go to a couple of more commercials, and when we come back, we're going to bring in our guests, and then we're going to start the broadcast. So y'all hold on a minute. Don't go nowhere. Just sit tight. We'll be right back, okay?
What a fantastic way to live. Hello, I'm Tarhaka Amana El Bay, operating in the private as a secured party and creditor instead of living the life of a debtor. Now, to learn how to do that, you have to get the knowledge. There's no doubt about it. You don't mix public with private, just like oil and water don't mix. For the skill and know-how, go to www.tarhakadataelimination.org. That's tarhakadataelimination.org. Contact me, Tarhaka. My number is on the website. Or send me an email. That's tarhakadataelimination.org. Learn how to live the good life as a secured party and a creditor instead of a debtor, and eliminate your debts. Fun time is almost over. tarhakadataelimination.org. Peace.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, to see my guest is in the queue. Dr. Walter Williams, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here, Brother Tarhaka. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You're coming across loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. You want to, because the switchboard is lit up, man. We got a whole lot of new people down here. If you hold on one second, Dr. Williams, before we get started, we got another call at his hand raised at area code 312. Let me bring him on in here. 312, you on there. Brother Yoel.
Brother Tarhaka. Yes, sir.
How you doing, my brother?
I'm all right, brother. How are you? Yes, sir. I hear you loud and clear.
Okay,
great. And good afternoon to your good afternoon to your listening audience, and Professor Williams, greetings, and Mad Hotel. Mad Hotel to you, my brother Joel.
Mad Hotel. All right, well, brothers, we're ready to kick this segment off. This is part 2. And what I would like to do, Dr. Williams, because actually there's no more to be said. You've already dropped the bomb in part 1, but I think what we should do is get down into all the nuts and bolts and wiggle pins of this thing about how the ancient Egyptians became Negroes and black people. So I want to start with you, Dr. Walter Williams. I'm gonna mute my brother's mic right here. And is there anything else you want to add before I begin the questioning? Because we're gonna get this stuff clearly understood tonight. What else you want to add, man? And I ask you a recommendation, if you for the new people here, if you would give us a rundown down on that great debate things before we get started, if you will, please.
Okay, well, as you know, the Great Debate is one of the greatest debates in our African community. I'm not saying that because I debated 5 people on the video that was made on a television station in Chicago, Illinois in 1993. The host of that television show, W.L. Lillard, tried to set me up for defeat by doing the following. He brought on Archaeology in Israel from the group called the Black Hebrew Israelites. And the second person he brought on to defeat me was a prominent minister in Chicago, Reverend Henry Hardy. He was representing Christianity. And then from the Nation of Islam came Munir Muhammad, who was a Muslim, belonging to the Nation of Islam under Elijah Muhammad. The fourth person I debated was a lawyer by the name of Chester L. Blair, because he was on there to try to defend when I said that we as Africans living in the United States of America were not citizens of this country. So quite naturally, about being a lawyer, he took the oath to defend the United States Constitution. And that's part of the United States Constitution, citizenship. And the fifth person was W.L. Lillard himself, because what I had said on a previous broadcast, television show of his, some things that he did not like. So he going to set me up for defeat. That never happened. So I recommend the viewing of the Great Debate, because it is something that you should see, and the information in the Great Debate you should hear. So that's what I said about the Great Debate, Brother Tarhaka.
Okay, fantastic, Dr. Williams. Now, what I want to do is something a little bit different tonight. The switchboard is lit up, and what I want to do is to open up the phone lines a little earlier than we normally do. And so what I'm going to tell the listening audience now, the number to dial into this broadcast is 515-605-9757. 515-605-9757. Press 1 on your phone if you have something to say. We're going to open up the phone lines. If you have a question for our guests, now's the time to open it up. And so I'm going to open up the line that I already got here, and we can get this thing going so we can go ahead on and get as much information as we can out. So I'm going back to my brother Yoel and open his phone line up. But Dr. Walter Williams, my question to you is in your personal opinion now, is America Egypt?
America, they set this country up as a replica of ancient Egypt. One of the proofs of that is that if you look on the back of your dollar bill, you will see the Great Pyramid. That's on your dollar bill that you carry in your pocketbooks and purses and wallets every day. Also, on your dollar bill is a eagle, which is the seal of America.
out of ancient Egypt also. The third thing is this. You go to Washington, D.C., and you look at how Washington, D.C. is laid out. All over Washington, D.C., they have symbols that represents ancient Egypt. They have statues and symbols, and they got the what you call obelisk. That's what I'm trying to bring out. They have the obelisk there, right there.
Okay.
In Washington, D.C. And they also have the Potomac there, where the obelisk stands at the end of that Potomac River to show you how they have tried to replicate ancient Egypt right here in the United States of America. So yes, that's what they tried to do.
Okay. Well, now, if someone referred to you as being Dr. Walter Williams, as being black, or they give you some kind of information on paper listing you as black, what would that mean to you? Well, what do you think they're trying to say?
Well, they're telling me, if they call me black, which I used to be offended by that word. If they call me black, later on I found that black leads you right back to Spain, and right back from Spain back to Egypt. So I don't mind being called black, because tonight I'm going to tell you why I don't mind being called black. So we can get into that now. I will narrate to the listening audience how the ancient Egyptians became Negroes and black people. That's the topic of our conversation and the topic of our subject tonight. How the ancient Egyptians became Negroes and black people. I want to say this before I get into my narration. I want to bring you, listeners out there, to the attention of a man who wrote a book in 1939. His name was Theodore P. Ford. Theodore P. Ford in 1939 wrote a book called God Wills the Negro. And in this book called God Wills the Negro, he said these words. He said that the ancient Egyptians vanished and the Negro appeared. I'll repeat that again. Theodore P. Ford said in his book that he published in 1939, that's called God Wills the Negro, that the ancient Egyptians vanished and the Negro appeared. So the next place I want to take you to before I get into my narration is that Walter Williams says these words in the year 2022, that the ancient Egyptians are the descendants of the American Negro. Repeat, Walter Williams is saying in the year 2022 that the ancient Egyptians are the ancestors of the American Negro. So I want to start off that and bring that information out start my other narration about how the ancient Egyptians became Negroes and black people. Now, mind you, I want to tell you a little something, a little background about Philip Ford. Philip Ford in 1939 was a student at the University of Chicago, right here in Chicago. And he belonged to a club called the Negro Club. All the Negroes that went to the University of Chicago during that time had their own private club called the Negro Club. So I was going to bring that piece of information out. Now,
Okay.
Let's move on to the beginning of my narration. I will take you on a route, a narrated route, to ask how the ancient Egyptians became Negroes and black people. The first stop on our narrated route. Who are the ancient Egyptians? They're African people. Where did they live? They lived in the continent of Africa, in a country called Egypt. During the time of antiquity, that's ancient times, they brought civilization to all of humanity, all the races on earth. It's using today civilization that came out of ancient Egypt. And mind you, civilization did not start in India. Civilization did not start in Europe. Civilization did not start in China. Civilization started in the continent of Africa by a people known today, an African people known today as the ancient Egyptians. Now, in their culture, they brought and created literacy. Literacy meaning that they brought forth alphabet by all humans on earth, or fashion. That alphabet is the first thing that learn when they and enroll. The first thing you learn, the alphabet, your ABC. From that alphabet, you learn how to read, write, and spell. Literate. Also, that alphabet contains the musical scale. From that alphabet created by our ancestors during the time of antiquity, do, re, mi, so, fa, la, ti, so that's how, and with that musical scale came the advent of music. The world's first musicians were women, females of ancient Egypt. They were the first musicians on planet Earth. So they created all forms of mathematics. And with that mathematics, they were able to build great monuments that has ever existed on planet Earth. That's a great pyramid. And with that building of the pyramid came the building of the Sphinx. The body of the Sphinx is 1 block long, 6 stories high, with an African stone. So that is some of the great feats. While you get my book, Historical Origin, will advise the reader of that book to read section to that book more than once ancestors was Africa, continent of Africa, and what they had developed for all humanity. And spot.
Dr. Williams, sound like you going in and out. You sound like you're cutting out.
Okay, well, the next spot I want to bring to our ancestors, about our ancestors, is the time in Spain. The word black and Negro was in 1091. Spanish-speaking people, civilized speaking people of Spain, ASK, Egyptians who lived in North Africa along the Mediterranean, come into Spain, civilization to them. Now, the ancient Egyptians, Egypt borders the Mediterranean, and west you get Libya, you get Tunisia, Algeria, you get Morocco, and you get Mauritania. 6 borders the Mediterranean. 1091. These uncivilized Spanish-speaking people asked our ancestors, the ancient Egyptians living along those countries I just mentioned in North Africa, come to Spain to bring civilization to the uncivilized Spanish-speaking people. The ancient Egyptians used the country called Morocco to do just that. Why Morocco? Because of the Strait of Gibraltar that's connected to Morocco. The Strait of Gibraltar, at the end of the Strait of Gibraltar, come out of Morocco, will put you the closest to the shores of Spain. In other words, at the end of the Strait of Gibraltar, you have to use a boat to travel 8.9 miles before you can come to the shores of Spain. Once in Spain, this is very important, once in Spain, the Spanish people called our ancestors, the ancient Egyptians, black or Moors. Now, black in Spanish is synonymous with Negro. So Negro and black and Negro, one and the same. So that's how our ancestors got that title of being black and being Negro. That's the first indication right there in Spain. While in Spain, the ancient Egyptians learned the Spanish language and applied an alphabet to that Spanish language, which is called Latin today. Okay? Now, after that, they showed the Spanish people of Spain how to set up a government of Spain. The third thing that they did was to begin to build throughout Spain cities such as Seville, Grenada, Toledo, Cadillac, etc. They learned how, and they brought that building boom, I would say, to Spain during that time. We're talking about 1091. So they also introduced public bath houses over in Spain. And introducing public bath houses, you have to have soap. So they introduced soap to the uncivilized Spanish-speaking people. Now, sometimes if you look at the History Channel, the narrator of the History Channel will tell you that soap was introduced in the 11th century to Europe, and that's true. It was introduced by a people known today as the Moors, or the ancient Egyptian, or the American Negro, etc., etc., etc. So we're going to move into another section of our narration. We're going to narrate it route to understand how the ancient Egyptians became Negroes and black people. We're going to move into the Vatican. We're going to move into the Vatican, but we're going to have to, before we get to the Vatican, there's other information that you need to know in order for us to get there. And by the way, I'm going to add this to our narration and understanding about what the Moors was doing, not only in Spain. Now, bordering Spain is France. They also went into France and began to build and bring civilization to France. You see, no one mentions that. But there it is, right there in your face. And they buildings in France, the same as they did in Spain for the Spanish-speaking people. They did the same thing for the French-speaking people. And we're going to move back to and continue my narration as to how those Africans, known as the ancient Egyptians, became Negroes and black people. I'm going to take you to the time when the seat of Christianity was moved out of northeast Africa. The seat of Christianity was built in 532, finished December 27, 537 in northeast Africa. Today, northeast Africa is called the Middle East. The first seat of Christianity was the Church of Hagia Sophia, built in Constantinople, Turkey. And today, Constantinople is called Istanbul, Turkey. That's the name of the place in northeast Africa, in Turkey. Instead of Constantinople, they changed it to Istanbul, Turkey. And in 1439, with the imminent threat of the Ottoman Turks, who had usurped all of the controlled territory that was under the dominance of the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire was reduced down to the double-walled city of Constantinople. Inside of the double-walled city of Constantinople was the Church of Hagia Sophia, the world's first Christian church. With that imminent threat by the Ottoman Turks to break through that wall in Constantinople, Turkey, seize Constantinople, and seize the world's first Christian church. Now, this was done in 1453 by Muhammad, who took a cannon and blew a hole in the side of the double-walled city of Constantinople and entered Constantinople through that open hole in the side of the double-walled city of Constantinople, seized Constantinople, and seized the Hagia Sophia. Now, if you get my book, The Historical Origin of Islam, on the very front cover of that book, you will see a picture of the world's first Christian church, the Hagia Sophia. You see that round dome on there. And that was built at the request of Justinian and his wife, Theodora, who asked and commissioned ancient Egyptian architects and ancient Egyptian builders to build that church. And that they did. And that, you can see it on the front cover of my book called The Historical Origin of Islam. So, with the imminent threat, which happened in 1453, by the Ottoman Turks, who came into Constantinople to seize Constantinople and the church. But before that happened, with that imminent threat being known by the Ottoman or the Byzantine emperors, John VIII took and moved that seat of Christianity into Italy. He relinquished the seat of Christianity by going to two colleges, or curias there. C-U-R-I-A means college. And he relinquished the seat of Christianity at those two curias, one in Florence, Italy, and one in Ferrara, Italy, by releasing and relinquishing the donation of Constantine. Now, there were 6 humanists from each curia or colleges. And those 6 humanists were the ones to receive and be responsible for the seat of Christianity to be in Europe. Now, those humanists today would be called intellectuals. They were called humanists then. And they went to Rome and asked the authorities in Rome to give them some allotted land to build the second seat of Christianity. And the authorities in Rome gave them land in the suburbs or on the outskirts of Rome, near the catacombs, which that church stands today. St. Peter's Basilica, or St. Peter's Church, was built right there in 1445. So, at that request by those 6 humanists to the authorities of Rome to give them land to build the second seat of Christianity, which was done in 1445. Now, mind you, those 12 humanists asked the Moors of Spain to come to Spain to bring second church of Christianity that is known today as St. Peter's Church, known as also as St. Peter's Basilica. That was in 1445. The Moors came into Spain, came into Italy, and they began to lay out the Vatican as you see it over there today. The Vatican, as you see it today, is a replica of the first seat of Christianity that was in Constantinople, Turkey. And if you look at St. Peter's Dome, it's a smaller dome than what is on the Church of Hagia Sophia over in Turkey today. So that's what they began to do and lay out. They laid out the city, which is the Vatican City, in 1445. And they also not only built the second seat of Christianity, they built the Sistine Chapel over there in 1473. So, and that's today, the Sistine Chapel is where the Pope lived and so forth and so on. And of course, you got beautiful stained glass windows and all types of other artistry in the Sistine Chapel. Now, here comes the time to get rid of the Moors out of Spain and the Vatican, because the Europeans had used them as far as they want to use them. In other words, they got what they wanted out of the Moors. So now it's time to get rid of them. They don't want the world to know. There was no influence from Africans, from Egypt, from North Africa, that built the country that we know today as Spain, bringing civilization to uncivilized Spain and Spanish-speaking people. They don't want the world to know that it was that the Moors out of Spain that were asked to come into the Vatican to lay out the Vatican as it is over there today. They don't want that to happen. So what they set out to do was to get rid of these Moors from both places, Spain and the Vatican. So what happened in 1478, the Moors and the Vatican was allied with the Spanish-speaking people. And they formed what is known today as the Inquisition of 1478. Now, mind you, this Inquisition is called the Spanish and Roman Inquisition, meaning when you say the Roman, they mean the Roman Catholic Church, because the Roman Catholic Church had allied with Spain to do just that. Now, after being in Spain for 397 years and being in the Vatican for 33 years, it was time for them to erase or try to erase any evidence of any Africans known as the Moors or any other Africans known by any other name that was ever present or had anything to do with civilizing and bringing civilization to Spain and had anything to do with building of the Vatican. They wanted to get rid of them. So Ferdinand and Isabella in 1478 began what what is known in history as the Spanish Inquisition and Spanish and Roman Inquisition, because they had allied with the Roman Catholic Church. So they hired a man by the name of Christopher Columbus, who was a ship owner, to come to Spain and take some Moors out of Spain and put them, find some new land or whatever land you want to dump them in, just dump them. Now, mind you, in 1492, Christopher Columbus got lost at sea, so the story goes. And he stumbled up on the land that we know today as the United States of America. And with him coming to America by way of accident, the Moors was on that ship. And the Moors had fled into the North African countries of Africa, the countries I mentioned before, Egypt, Libya, Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco, Mauritania. They had fled into those countries during the time of the Spanish and Roman Inquisition. They also came into Mali. They also came into other parts of Africa. They also went into other parts of Europe, etc., etc. So now they're over here in this hemisphere of America. That was in 1492. Now there's a 127-year gap between 1492 and the advent and the beginning of slavery, which was in 1619. There's a 127-year gap in there. So for 127 years, nobody talks about this. For 127 years, what was the Moors doing over in this hemisphere? They were bringing civilization to this hemisphere. Okay? And the Spanish and the Roman Catholic Church were going into the countries that we know today as Latin American countries. They were bringing the language of Latin, indigenous people in those Latin American countries, to Christianity. So today, as I speak, all through the Latin countries today, you find that the indigenous people living there, people forced on them, and also you will find out they are Christians, and then right in the middle of their culture and society in these Latin countries is the Roman Catholic Church. Now, so there's a 127-year difference. So within that 127-year difference before slavery of 1619, our African ancient Egyptian ancestors were bringing civilization to this hemisphere, which no one talks about. So the advent of slavery in 1619 brought the shores of America by the enslavers who reached into other parts of Africa, other Africans into of America. Okay? And with them being born in this country as slaves, they will learn. Now they were not. Okay, so they were highly educated people, brought into into this country by, I call, uncivilized.
Sound like you're breaking up, Dr. Williams.
Okay, what I call inferior, civilized savages are the founding thieves of this country. Okay? They're the ones that brought these Africans out of Africa into this country over here and put them into slavery. That was in 1619. Now, after 127 years, bringing civilization to the Americas, or the United States of America, time to get rid of the Moors again. So how did they get rid of the Moors? They took the enslaved indigenous Africans that they brought out of Africa during this time of 1619, and the Moors, who are the descendants of the ancient Egyptians, and put them under one umbrella. Under that umbrella, they call them Negros. And Negro, Spanish, is synonymous with black. So, today, as I speak, that's how the ancient Egyptians became Negro, black people, in the United States of America. Brother Tarhaka?
All right. Thank you, Dr. Williams. I certainly appreciate it. I'll open up the phone lines now. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, the number to dial in is 515-605-9757. If you got something to say, press 1 on your phone. Your hand is raised. I can see it right here on the switchboard, and I'll open up the line so you can get in. I'm going to Brother Yoel out of Chicago. Brother Yoel, are you with us?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now, Brother Yoel, this is the way I see it. All right. Now, in order for what Dr. Williams have just told us, what that would have to mean is that Africa and the ancient Egyptians, which was supposed to be in North Africa, would make Africa the old world and the Americas the new world. And there's no doubt in my mind, based on the research that I've done already previously, we know about the Moors here, down here in Mexico, how they murdered them, and all this right here. And also other research that I've done, and looking at the footage, because they're still breaking ground and bringing out new information about this hemisphere and the pyramids that's being excavated and stuff right here in the United States. And I'm looking at them, and all down through South America. So what I'm looking at and what these people are saying that I've checked out, they're saying that based on the new information that we have, America, the Americas, is the old world, which would include Atlantis, it'll include Lemuria and all of that, and Africa is the new world. Now, faced with this dilemma, what I did was I asked my mother. I said, Mama, you didn't tell us about slavery, you know, when we back in slavery and stuff like that. She said, well, we were never slaves. Said we've already been here. We heard about this thing called slavery. You know, we heard about it. You know, so you know, people was talking about it and stuff like that, but it you know, it had nothing to do with us. I said, well, who are we? And she told me, she said, well, your granddaddy, he was Blackfoot, from the tribe of Blackfoot. And my mama, grandmama, your grandmama, she was Cherokee all the way back through all the whole line, all the way back past my great-great-grandfather and all that. We were Cherokee. And your granddaddy met your grandmama, and then here I come, and then here you go. And so, based on the current information that I'm looking at now, because we're constantly doing research to verify everything. And we even down to the physical characteristics, the customs, and all of this stuff. And I'm not questioning, I'm trying to put the whole puzzle together about the whole thing and look at, because we're dealing with, right now, we're dealing with the education of our children. We have a special thing going on. I won't talk about all that because we're not complete yet, but man, it is tremendous. And it has everything to do with our children and the knowledge of self and their ancient knowledge and all this stuff. But what I want to know from you, and we're going to, after you answer, then we're going to take a little quick break, and then we'll be right back. But what I want to know from you, what is your opinion about what Dr. Williams just told us and what I just said? What you got, man? So you got a whole bookstore.
Okay, yeah, I do have a whole bookstore, but I'm not a historian. Okay, so yes, I do. I'm the man that you come to get your books from to become your historian.
Okay. Y'all hear that, ladies and gentlemen? Okay.
Yeah, that doesn't make the guy that owns the bookstore the authority that you go to for all your questions. Y'all just assume that we are the authorities on the question. Okay? But from time to time you run into those who own the bookstores who do exactly our in search as well of who we are and all of that, and with respect to the rest of the world and where we come from and what we should be doing. So that's where I'm at. I'm in class. Okay. Professor Williams is one of my teachers. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, but to kind of look at and segue into this thing a little bit more based on what you're saying and what he's saying is basically we understand that they done what he said that the Egyptians done. The question becomes to me, how long did it take them to do this job? Where was their beginning? How old did they take? Did it take 100 years? Did it take 1,000 years? Did it take 3,000, 10,000 years to do this? And if so, what were they doing at that? They were sitting in one place while doing this on this landmass, or were they traveling and going different places as they were taught this? And so if we look at it, compare what they done, the ancient Egyptians, to what is being done now, it takes you a long time to get through the education of all of this and to get the people educated to what's going on. And just like now, everybody's not in school. Some people don't go to school and didn't go to school. So what it is that they're thinking, and they may be thinking a little bit different than everybody else because they didn't have anybody trying to tell them anything. And they wasn't wondering about any other thing but their lives. But for those who go to school over here, they may have some questions about history. But we also know that based on the education we got, we know from Carter G. Woodson and we know from other sources that said that we got miseducated. So therefore, we have to now look back when we can finally come out of from under the cover that they have pulled over our eyes, or the wool that they have pulled over our eyes that they taught us in school, and decide whether or not what they told us was the truth. And because if we can find a white guy named like James Lowen, who wrote the book called Lies My Teacher Told. Now he's a Caucasian, and he's writing a book called Lies My Teacher Told. And if they told him lies, what do you think they told us? Okay, they had to tell us even more lies, but I know and understand, in my thinking anyway, that they have to deceive them or miseducate them while they was also at the same time miseducating us. They couldn't tell them the truth and then tell us something different. So they realized that they had to brainwash their own people, and therefore they reached and they grabbed this what you call system of education from Germany, borrowed this system from Germany with the intent of how to brainwash a group of people at one time. Okay? So that's what they did to us. First of all, we have to look at that. Then everything that we've been taught basically has to be thrown out. We have to empty our brains of all of that stuff. And we have to then begin to examine the evidence that's available to us right now. And I think that's what Mr. Williams did, because he don't come from a academic university or college and stuff like that. He just had a mind that thought, that was asking questions and looking for answers, and those answers were revealed to him. That's the same thing that we have to have, is a mind that is also looking for answers to be revealed to us for the questions, the answers to the questions that we have for ourselves and for other people. But what I've also learned now is that when we look at this thing, it's a bigger con game than I thought it was in the beginning, years ago, and even up until recently, I was thinking this. So the con game is bigger than what I thought it was. And it may be the same thing for other people, because then you have to factor in something we talked about once before, history crafts. People who write history and how they write history and how they manipulate that history. So they've had a cadre of Caucasians who manipulated that history. And then we got your investigators like Clark Ben and all these other black historians who go in and they investigate what these Caucasians have wrote, and also Mr. Williams. Go and investigate what they wrote and come out of that and decipher the truth from the falsehood. Okay? But again, coming back to what I just said, I've learned that the con game is bigger than what I thought it was. Then, so you not only have to figure out how the Egyptians became Negro blacks and all of that, but how did it become that? How did they do that? Through education? Is that the only way they did it? Or did they do that by changing a whole lot of things? Like you said, something about, you alluded to your great-grandparents being Blackfoot. Well, who did the switcheroo and said, well, them group of people, Blackfoot, were not us as a people? For right now, for references, I'll just ask the question. Well, for reference, I'll say black folks. What's to say them Blackfoot wasn't black folks already? And they decided to separate them and pretend that they were the people other than Blackfoot, or black folks, that is. That the Cherokee was not just, that they weren't another different group of people, but maybe they were black folks or African Americans, whatever you want to call us, whatever name you want to use to call us, Moors, whatever, Egyptians, ancient Egyptians, maybe they were that already. They just decided to start calling you another name, just like they still calling the so-called Native Americans Indians when this is not India. So how could they be Indians? So, but they still use that term. So likewise, when it comes to looking at this big picture here, who started this? I think I read something, a short message from some guy who was out of Virginia, some Caucasian, who were one of the first to try to start changing the names or the descriptions and the identity of the people in Virginia. He was out of Virginia. Well, who was this guy? And how big is who gave him that authority, and how did it spread throughout the rest of the country and stuff like that? So it's a lot more questions than answers, but they need to be asked. Tarhaka. And now, you say you were going to go to a break, so you can. I'll save some of that.
Okay. Well, I certainly appreciate it. Man, we got to think about what the brother just said. But anyway, we're going to take a little quick break, and we'll be back. We'll open back up the phone lines. Keep in mind, 515-605-9757. Press 1 on your phone. That'll give me something, give me an indication that you have something to say. But in the meantime, we're going to take a little quick break, and we'll be right back.
The cost for maintaining this false system of white supremacy will be white supremacy itself. They can't continue to arm themselves to the extent to which they armed themselves. They can't continue to spend more money on nuclear weapons as they have been because they can't control or maintain their infrastructure. They can't control the population. They can't control the energy that is required to maintain this system. They can't control the environment. They have destroyed the environment. And Mother Nature will always take care of herself. If Mother Nature is threatened by the European and his insane desire to control other people and control the environment, if Mother Nature is threatened by that, Mother Nature will destroy that threat. And if that threat doesn't destroy itself first. So the reality is Mother Nature is going to take care of itself. This system of white supremacy has peaked, and it is now on a rapid decline. And as it declines, and this is the question that we really need to be asking ourselves, as it declines, what are we going to do? We don't have to go down with the ship. We have cultural life preservers right in our midst if we're willing to acknowledge them and utilize them. But the other reality is, given my understanding of history, history is a story of the ascension and decline of cultures and civilizations. History is replete with the extermination of large groups of people, whether by war, whether by disease, whether by natural occurrences or so-called acts of God. So that has happened in the past dozens and dozens of times. It will happen in the future dozens of times. And so as a result of what has happened and what will happen again, there will always be survivors. And these survivors are the people who will take the best of their culture and use that as seed to jumpstart a new manifestation of their culture and move things to a higher level. So we're just in a phase now where we're witnessing the decline of white supremacy, of the European power structure, and when it falls, it's going to create a vacuum, and there are other nations poised to come in and fill that vacuum. China is poised to do their thing. Africa has a potential to take the lead. Even though China is all up in Africa, building roads and building infrastructure in Africa, that does not necessarily mean that China will always control those institutions. All we need is for African people to come back to an African-centered consciousness. And with those resources there, with that infrastructure there, they can push the Chinese out and then elevate themselves. So it's going to be, we're going to see some dramatic shifts in the world and how the world functions. It will be a time of upheaval, but I know that after the upheaval is going to come a time of peace and a time of prolonged prosperity. And that's something that if we study the historical record, that is something that we have done in the past, which means that we have the capacity to do it again.
Okay, that was Anthony T. Browder, alias Tony Browder. He hosts the tours and stuff through the United States, and he is, Brother Browder said, we in Egypt. And he goes on to point out all the, show us the actual artifacts and temples and stuff, and lining it up directly with what's going on and what really happened. They're doing a fantastic job. I think he's been in Egypt over 62 times. I don't know. I think he said 6-7 times. But anyway, it's time to open up the phone lines. I got a caller with his hand raised, area code 312. And then what we're going to do is open up Brother Yoel's line and Dr. Walter Williams' line again, and then we'll discuss this thing. But I'm going to area code 312. You got your hand raised. Tell us who you are, where you're calling from, what's your question or comment. 312, you're on the air.
Hello, E.M. Hotep, brother. My name is Lucio. I'm from Chicago. My comment is I'm glad for your podcast, for this blog talk. Our people need to know this truth, that the Committee came here to America thousands of years ago and started the first civilization here. The first buildings in America were built by black people, black hands. And there's nothing that we should ever be ashamed about in our black. As Professor Williams was talking about, the Heru Imhotep, or what you call the Sphinx, a block long. The marvels that black people have accomplished all over the world stem from ancient Kemet, the land that you call Egypt. It is when you see Merkut or pyramids all up and down the Mississippi River, all over America, Bosnia, Antarctica. We need to teach this. We need to, as Brother Browder said, share this truth with every black face because we have been lied about for hell. It's still 2022 and they still lying about stuff. We have to give our people so we can raise our head to Ra, raise our pants off our asses, stop having grandmothers at 30 years old, be better as a people, and that's the comment. And as far as a question, knowing that there's evidence that Ursa Ma'at Rat from Ra Mariam came here to the continent possibly 2,000, roughly, or whatever, or 4,000 years ago, possibly. Why don't we have more evidence of this? Do you feel that the government has hidden all the evidence about it? That's it.
Well, if you ask me personally, based on what I have researched, what is happening is like a person who is extremely rich, but he don't spend no money. He got his wealth stuck in the basement. He got it in the trunk. He got it under the house. He got it up in the attic. He got it tucked away in his socks. He'll sit and sit and sit and sit and sit, but he never let it out. And the reason I'm saying that is because based on the research, like I ran into a story where this man and his wife went to the Smithsonian Institute, and some kind of way they got lost in the building. And instead of them getting on the elevator that's there for the regular people to go from floor to floor, they accidentally got on the freight elevator. And the freight elevator take them all the way down to the basement. Now, when they get down to the basement, they wander through this big old giant hall down there. And they looking at doors with chains and locks on them. And then they come to one door that's cracked open, and so they open that door looking for a way to get out from down there. And there is the remains of a man laying on the table well over 9 feet tall. And they said, wow, what is that? And all of a sudden, here come one of the curators that done been notified that they down there in the wrong place. And the man said, you gotta get out of here. You gotta get out of here. You can't be down here. They said, well, we got laws and stuff. Yeah, but you got to get out of here. Come go with me. Well, who is that over there? I'll tell you, well, we can't explain that to you. You just got to get out of here. So what these people are doing is doing all the wars and crusades and invasions and all this stuff. They're gathering information, and they're taking it and holding on to it, trying to do the best they can to understand it. They don't have that kind of knowledge, but they're not going to let you have it. And if you would read John G. Jackson's account of the introduction to African civilization, when it came, invaded Africa, the Africans struck out. A lot of them struck out on camels and horses and stuff, and they had a whole lot of silver and gold, but they carried scrolls of their knowledge with them. And they were captured. Those who were captured, the knowledge was taken. They were taken to Europe and forced to teach take your knowledge and teach it to us. And so this kind of thing has gone on and on and on, and this kind of information is being sit on, and they're fabricating lies and all this stuff to maintain the stranglehold of the mind of the people that they are sitting on, and this stuff is still being sitting on today. So that, and I mean, these kind of stories go on and on and on and on and on. And then there was the burning of books. We come in and we invade your territory. We ain't got no sense. We ain't got no resources. We don't even know how to take a bath, but we come over here and see you, and so we're going to steal what you got, take what you got, and then we're going to lead the world to believe that we are civilized. And you are a savage. You understand? So to answer your question, that's what I got right there. I got another caller with his hand raised, but you hold on a minute, brother. Keep the noise level down. I'm gonna keep your mic open. Okay, hold on.
Yeah,
Let me go down to area code 773. Area code 773. That looks like another in Chicago. 773. You're on the air.
Great.
Last four numbers, 7727. Come on in.
How do I get in? Am I in?
773, last four numbers, 7727.
Am I in? How do I
Okay.
get in?
I can hardly hear you. Sound like you're breaking up, man.
Oh, it sounds like I'm breaking up.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I was just going back to the comment of Yoel. The etymology of education is really...
Tell me who you are.
My name is Tahuti. Yeah, we come here to the planet with all that is required to get to exist on this planet. So when we talk about, the education and all that, basically, my take on this whole thing is that everywhere we are, that's where the people who are pushing this educational system to be what it is. In short, what I want to say is this, is that
people are following us in everything we do. We'll start a system, and people will get behind us. They'll watch us, and then they'll reap the benefits of everything that we create. So none of those people are really creators. They're just copycats. We wake up, and I mean actually just open our third eye. All that is required will happen. We'll begin to play chess, and it'll be over with. And that's all I wanted to say.
Okay, it seems like caller phone is dropping. Going back up here to brother Dr. Walter Williams, and open back up his phone line. Dr. Walter Williams, are you with us right on?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You're coming across loud and clear. Could you care to comment on what we just discussed a few minutes ago?
No, just listening right through here. I have nothing to say.
All right, I'm going to mute your mic, and then I'm going on back down to Brother Yoel. Brother Yoel, are you still with us, man?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
All right. Will you care to comment on anything that you just heard? Yeah, I know you're familiar with Tony Free Browder.
Yes, I am. However, I didn't fully get what he said while I stepped away from the phone for a moment, so I didn't get all of what he said. In trueness, I couldn't really make a real comment on it because I didn't get the full. I didn't hear the full statement that he was making.
Okay.
If you're talking about referring to, can you put it in a question form?
Well, what the brother's saying is basically what we have to do is we have to do the same thing that we've been doing, me and you, Dr. Walter Williams, and a lot of other people on here. We do the research because what he is saying is they've reached their peak and talking about the Europeans and stuff, and it's time for the whole thing to come crash down, and what we're supposed should be doing is what we should have been doing a long time ago, and that's doing the research and verifying information, because as far as I'm concerned, it's just my personal opinion, our people are still under the impression that they can go to a school, a college, or university inside the United States and get an education. Well, first of all, I have to disagree with it because I cannot see how a man can teach you everything that you would need to know to rule over him and his nation. I can't see how he's going to do that. So he have to give you misinformation, and therefore so what you're supposed to be doing is doing the research and finding out everything that you need to know, regardless of what anybody tell you about anything. You do the research, you come up with the facts, and minus belief and religious, all this other stuff, and then that way you're able to pass on to your children a legacy of factual information that will actually benefit them and work. Because if you, first of all, if you are going to get an education, what that education should be designed to do is teaching you how to handle power, not how to not to come through kindergarten, go all the way through grade school and high school, and then go through a college or university and come out making a whole lot of cash that ain't got no gold backing it up, and then your identity is totally gone. You, in order for you to get from point A to point B, and you have totally lost your identity, or even don't even know anything about your own self, and then turn around and consider yourself to have knowledge. You have nothing. Not one single thing. If you don't know who you are. So that's the way I see it. I mean, you can. It's all over the television. Even if you look at CNN, look at World News, look at all these people all over the world, the news correspondents in war zones and all this stuff. They look like me and you. They look like me and you, but what's coming out of their mouth and what we are looking at when we look at them is from somebody else's culture, somebody else's consciousness inside your brain. It is the most incredible thing that you'll ever see. But these people are put, since you allowed us to take your soul, we're going to give you wealth. You'll be allowed to live in a special area. But the first time you start waking up to your own identity and all this right here stuff, you got to be kicked out. Because I never forget when the O.J. Simpson trial happened. And O.J. realized, wait a minute, I done been away with my people all these years, but stuff is tough now. So I got to find out where my people at, so I can go down up in the community where my people at, so they can protect me from this thing. Because I've been on this pad. I got on their clothes. I sound like them. And then here comes this Caucasian woman. She said, I can't believe it. We accepted him as one of us. And I'm like, wait a minute. What are you talking about? You ain't ran down a touchdown. What are you saying? Are you saying that this man, he has exchanged his own consciousness for you and he need to be thankful for it? Oh, man. And it goes on and on and on and on. And, but anyway, that's my position. That's how I see it. And I come to the conclusion that the more education they got, the dumber they get. And I be trying to figure out what is going on in your brain. Tell me who you are. Could you tell me that without telling me your name? And it'd be lost. Don't never get an answer from nobody when I ask that question. Then I turn around and ask them how, during the Easter season, how many Easter eggs does a rabbit lay? Then they try to give me answers sometimes. Well, probably about 100, maybe about 100, I would say about 150. Well, what about the fact that a rabbit don't lay no doggone egg? Wow. But anyway, I'm going to open up this other brother's line down here back at 312.
Well, yeah. Are you here?
Yeah, I hear you.
Hello? Okay. I was just gonna say that basically it comes back to what I was trying to say earlier, that a lot more, because of the fact that a lot more information is coming out now and being revealed, that now it is it's an incumbent on us to now investigate the knowledge that's coming out and decipher what is true from falsehoods from what is being revealed now, and build on what we already know. But what Anthony Brown is talking about with respect to digging into where he is right now over in Egypt, we need some people digging right here in America and in South America right now, because nobody's uncovered and talking about the things that they found right here over here on this side of the planet. So we don't have enough people doing an investigation like that. Not anthropologists and people like that, but that's what we need, because a lot more information is coming out now. For some reason, he's not looking anywhere over here. He just got us over there in Africa looking, and he acts like that's the only place there is to look, when there's a lot of stuff right here that we can look at. Because the oldest people, as far as I know, in this country is called Mexum, is supposedly the Olmec people. That's who I've read that was supposedly the oldest people in this part of the hemisphere right here in the southern, in South America, America, Central America, and all of that. Okay? So, but the information is still coming out. In other words, with this information coming out, it forces us to reassess what we've been doing and where we've been looking, and start looking in other places and see how we can connect these dots, you know, to understand the bigger picture.
Well, you couldn't have said it no better, Brother Yoel. And it just so happened what we're doing here, down here in Florida, and I would like to encourage the other brothers and sisters across the United States. What we're doing is we're gathering the information, and you'd be surprised at a lot of the young people that's doing an investigation on this stuff. And I'm talking about all over the United States, including South America, all the islands, all down in here. And they back and forth. They are bringing out information up into Africa, every individual country in Africa, about their ancient history and stuff. And I mean, they're going on by this stuff. But what we're doing down here, we're capturing this information, and we're putting it, taking our stuff back and stirring it up so we can put it into the minds of our children, so that they will understand the truth, the whole truth, from our perspective, minus any miseducation and all of this kind of crap. So that's what we're doing. That's why at the outside of the broadcast, when we first came on, I was telling you about this book called Tracing Your Family Geological History by records by a man named Dane Calloway. Now, this brother have quite a few videos over there on YouTube, and it is amazing the work that the young man has done. I was fascinated by it. And and there are quite a few more. There's another one, he's down in South America, that actually showed you by photographs of the original Blackfoot tribes, the original Cheyennes and the Cherokees, what they really look like, and showing you and going on all the background information and the falsification of our culture and our ancient story. So the work is being done. And a lot of them, they haven't, some of them are touching on the archaeology and stuff like that. They haven't gotten all deep down the stuff. Then you got to travel where these guys are going, actually going down to these countries and going down into Mexico, overpass, over, down, over to the right and to the left and all the way down to the bottom, talking to the brothers and sisters right there. Sierra Leone, Argentina, Brazil, the whole nine, we getting it all. And we're making sure that we have this information and to pass on to our children. So the work is being done. Me personally, I'm not an African. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights, I think it's in Article 15, 14 to 15, or 15 to 16, one or two, I ain't got it in front of me now. It says every man have a right to a nationality. And it also says that every man has a right to change his nationality. Is it 15? You say Article 15?
Yes. I think it's 15, yes.
Okay, every man have a right to change his nationality. So, but the most important part that we got to understand is that we need to recognize your nationality, and we need to do this. And me personally, this is just how I see it. The second most important thing you need to do is start growing your own food, because it's going to get rough. But anyway, let me open up the area code 312 line again and see what he got to say about this thing. 312, you back on the air. Come on, black man.
Thank you. Hello, black man. Yes, I find it very interesting, all the comments. Like Brother Tahuti said, open up our first eye, actually, because the pineal gland is the first functioning eye of the human animal. because we need to know this stuff. The Caucasian animal is becoming extinct. That's a fact. All demographers are verifying this. And as you said, the information is coming out, as Brother Yoel said, the research into the Olmecs, and they're spread across Central America. Brother Dr. David Imhotep, who wrote the book, The First Americans Were Africans, lecture that he did some years ago talking about Bimini Road. If there's any Parliament fans out there, on the Aqua Boogie album, they talk about going down on Bimini Road. Well, Dr. David Imhotep tells us that Bimini Road actually is a giant breakwater. It was a breakwater for huge ocean liner-sized ships to come and deliver wares here to that part of the world, which is south of Florida. We have to give this information to our people. We have to. This is our mission, to strengthen our bonds for what's coming. Our ancestors who mapped the stars, who told us about these energies that would be coming to play upon the earth when certain celestial constellations occurred. We need to understand that. We, as Anthony Browder stated, it's not just the glory of the Tekken and the Merkut and Kemet. It's what they did. They built these structures for functions, just like you build your homes. So it's not for the Caucasian animal to figure out. It's for us to figure out because our ancestors built them. There is ample evidence that all of what we call the pyramids are either power-generating structures or power-receiving structures. So our ancestors sent electricity all over the world without wires. That type of technology, that type of genius is still in us as a people. And our job, my job, everyone who's listening, your job is to reach that genius in others, wake them up, show them the truth, and we can be greater as a people. And I do know this, the next civilization that can be called a civilization will be ruled and enacted by black hands and black minds. That's pretty much all I had to say about it.
Okay, well, I certainly appreciate your input, boy. What we're going to do, fellas, we're going to take another little quick break, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in Anthony T. Browder again. And y'all listen very, very carefully, and after we get through and open up the phone line, let me know what you think, okay? Everybody hold on.
You know, I've lived in D.C. for 47 years. And in 1986, I created the Egypt, what is now the Egypt on the Potomac field trip, in which I identified here in Washington, D.C., architectural symbols that are directly related to similar architectural symbols in Kemet in ancient Egypt. Symbols that refer to the history, the culture, the philosophy, the mythology of the oldest documented civilization on Earth. So it's clear to anybody with eyes to see that the most prominent African symbol in the United States of America is the so-called Washington Monument. I say so-called Washington Monument because that is what we've been socialized to believe it is, a monument that honors George Washington, first president of the United States. But that monument is not an obelisk. Obelisk is a Greek word. That monument is a Tekken. Tekken is an African word that identifies the resurrection of a Tsar. Who was a Tsar? A Tsar was the founding father, the first president of Kemet, if you will. An African who was murdered by his brother, an African who was resurrected, and the symbol of his resurrection is the Tekken. So the Tekken then is the oldest symbol of resurrection known to mankind. It is a symbol that represents the resurrection of an African man, and inside of the so-called Washington Monument is a symbol above the elevator and plaque of George Washington that makes that direct cultural reference. So if you understand African symbols and the mythology associated with those African symbols, you can go anywhere in the world and reclaim your history and culture. So I have found the physical evidence to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that the men who established the United States of America were literally attempting to recreate Egypt here on the Potomac River. Once you understand the backstory, once you understand our story, then you can decode these symbols, you can understand why they are here, you can understand what they represent, and more importantly, you know how to use these symbols in order to prepare yourself for the tasks that lie ahead. And lastly, the latest African symbol in D.C. is the exterior of the National Museum of African American History and Culture. Right? That building consists of 3 inverted pyramids, which they refer to as the corona. And that corona is a stylized version of the caryatid in a Yoruba shrine. But in point of fact, these 3 inverted pyramids are symbolic of the 3 pyramids of Giza. The inverted pyramid is a symbolic representation of the womb, the feminine source of creation, and the National Museum of African American History and Culture is directly across the street from Asar's monument, which is a masculine symbol of procreation. And the angle of the corona on the exterior of the National Museum of African American History and Culture is an angle of 17 degrees. And that 17-degree angle perfectly matches the angle of the pyramidion on top of Asar's monument. So the British Ghanaian architect who designed that building with the understanding, as he stated in a newspaper interview, that Washington, D.C. is Karnak on the Potomac. So he knew that the Washington Monument is a replica of the Tekenu at Karnak's temple, and the reflection of the monument in this reflection pool is a recreation of 2 standing Tekenu, actually 3 Tekenu, reflecting in the reflection pool in Karnak Temple. So for those who know that Egypt is here on the Potomac, and that we have architectural symbols right here in the nation's capital that mirror that African connection. And so it tells me that, that it is a signature of our ancestors, that they are here, that if we understand that they are here, and if we align ourselves spiritually and mentally with their presence, then it means we then become the vessels through which they can work through. And by them working through us, guiding us and protecting us, that then lays the foundation for us to rebuild Africa right here in the United States of America. And so I've got a presentation that I'm working on that speaks to this rebuilding process, you know, from Waset, which is the capital of Kemet, to Wakanda, which is the hottest movie in the history of movies, to Washington, D.C. It's one straight line that is related to African history, African mythology, African culture, African symbolism that connects African people with African American people. And when we can reposition these pieces, these fragmented pieces together in a coherent manner, then they become the solution to the problems that plague African people, not just here in America, but all over the world.
All right. Anthony T. Browder. He hosts his tours right here in the United States. And let me state, based on the information that I've personally been gathering, working on a special project capturing this information and storing this information from around the world, wherever our people are in the deepest reaches of China and Japan, the deepest reaches of Haiti and Mexico, everywhere we are, in actually looking at these people and getting their stories and hearing what they have to say worldwide, including the United States and all of what they're calling the Americas and Cuba and everywhere else. I'm finding out some of the most extraordinary information that could ever be presented, and I'm so thankful that this idea came up to do this thing, and it's going on and on. Last night I started at 12 midnight, and I didn't get through until 3:30 in the morning until I just fell asleep, and then I'm back up at 7 and started again, and still be going on. Matter of fact, I don't usually look at TV, but I'm looking at the information on the TV that was captured on one drive, and this thing has been going on since 5 o'clock this morning. It's still rolling on, and I've seen 99.9% of people who look just like me all day long. Minus any commercials about any type of anything else, and then I'll have to go on to technology. We deal with the under the sea, the mountains, the weather, the whole nine. So I'm going to go back up to Dr. Williams, open back up his phone line, see if he got anything else to add based on what we've been saying so far. Dr. Williams, you still with us? You got anything else you want to tell us?
Yes, sir. I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You come across loud and clear.
Okay. Well, I've been hearing different conversations coming from different people. You know, everybody got their own opinion to what they have been researching and following through the time of their life when they started their research, or when they started being aware of something is going on that's wrong, and from the time that they started being aware of who we are as African people, you know. So there are some things I, you know, disagree with, quite naturally. Not coming from the people that's called in. I mean, you know, there are some things, but there are some things that I disagree with being told about ancient Egypt and so forth and so on. But anyway, that's here or there, so we can move on to another phase.
Okay, well, what is it exactly do you disagree with? Are you disagreeing with what Brother Anthony Browder said, and if so, what did you disagree with?
Well, I don't want to air all my disagreements. I don't want to get into that. I don't want to get it word back to him that I said this and said that. So I don't want to get in with that. You know, I have to. If I see him in person, I'll tell him with my disagreement.
Okay.
With him, you know.
All right. Well, let me open up Brother Yoel's line. We'll open up Brother Yoel's line. Ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind that we would encourage you to dial into the broadcast and give us your input. The number to dial in is 515-605-9757. Press 1 on your phone. That'll give me an indication that you have something to say, and we'll open up the phone line so you can say what you have to say. Going back to Brother Yoel at area code 312. Brother Yoel.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
What'd you think about Anthony Browder's comments on Egypt on the Potomac?
Well, there is some things that needs to be investigated, of course, with respect to what he's talking about. There's too many things that overlook and, just ignore it, to be too many things that are similarities that such that you could just ignore it and just think that, well, that's just a coincidence. There's no coincidence in that. So I think it deserves more investigation, and perhaps maybe he shouldn't be digging over there. Maybe he should be digging over here. You know, but because I think what we can agree with is that because we're going into what you call the information age, Aquarius, then that means that there's other information that's being uncovered now. And with this new information that's being uncovered, we owe it to ourselves to investigate what other additional information is coming out in these times. So if that's the case, then we got a lot more work to do. And we need to do that investigation of this information that's being revealed. because there is additional information coming out now. Nothing is off the table, in other words, as they say. Everything is still food for thought and grounds for further investigation. You know, let's see where it goes. If it goes nowhere, then it goes nowhere. But I know that we got history down in South America as well, down in Peru. We're during the time of the Spanish land grants, and I think we got down in Peru, they had them 8, 9 different scrolls that was left there by the Moors during that time of the Spanish land grants, and that these scrolls were supposed to be written prophecy of what was to come and stuff like that. And we don't hear any talk about that. So why don't we? You know, the Catholic Church supposedly, I believe, was instrumental in trying to silence that, and they've been successful as far as I know right now, you know, because hardly anybody knows about that right now, and nobody is writing about that going down there. Nobody's really even going down to it to investigate. Shucks, we ain't even going right here to investigate. We in Illinois. And anybody went down to investigate the mounds in Illinois here, and Mounds, Illinois, and the Cairo down right here in Illinois? Nobody's investigating that. You know, that they mispronunciating called Cairo. It's really Cairo, and then you got Memphis over here too. Who named it? Who put these names on these places? We need to investigate these people. Is there not how did we come about these names? Why is it so similar? You know, all that's food for thought and grounds for further investigation, Brother Tarhaka. And that's where we have people who do this kind of good investigation, or historians like Professor Williams who investigated. But there's this new group of people who are listening to Professor Williams and other historians. Then they need to start investigating some of these places if they can get their head out of them books in academia, because the academic is going to keep you away from this stuff. It ain't going to get you nowhere close to studying anything over here related to us. So if they want to do themselves a favor and their people a favor, then they would start studying and listening to some of the things, the thought-provoking things that are coming from Professor Williams and other historians out here. You know? That's about it.
I agree with you 100%. 100%. You're absolutely correct, because I think we're at the point now, Brother Yoel, you and I and Dr. Williams, we had a whole lot of years, and we come to the point now where we're actually understanding the importance of having broadcasts like this to sound the alarm, to get other people to become genuinely interested in this area, to understand and do the research to come up to conclusions, in order for you to have some substance and some wisdom and knowledge to pass on to your children. So you won't be sitting there opening your mouth and ain't nothing coming out but garbage, and they ain't getting nowhere. They are not learning anything from you. You're not encouraging them to do anything. You're not saying anything important to them or exciting to them that they could be investigating. I was looking at this information the other day where you had these two guys. Now, one of these guys, he travels all over the world. He's just a travel fanatic. But they went down into Mexico, where they got the Olmec heads at in this museum. And when they got there was nobody in the museum. And so it was almost closing time, but they was around there taking pictures, and they was doing this video so they can put this information up on YouTube and stuff. And the people in the museum would say, well, y'all got to hurry up now. Y'all got to leave because it's time for us to close. And but my question is, this museum with these Olmec statues and heads in it, how come, as long as I've been on this planet, I never knew that this place existed. I never knew it. Then I ran into off the coast of Africa, in between the coast of Africa and Madagascar, there's a whole nother island, and 75% of the population on the island look like me and you. I never heard of it in my life. Out of all the documentaries that been on about world documentaries, we see Europe, we see China, we seen all this right here, but we never knew anything about this particular place. And then when I looked at this, I said, well, I never heard of this place before. And then they spent the majority of the information that they was presenting, and that was our people in the average everyday life and customs and stuff that was going on this island. But finally, before it ended, they took us to another part of the same island, a number of Caucasians. They got boats, they scuba diving, they doing it, and I said, I be doggone. There it is. But anyway, I'm going to open up my brother's line again, area code 312. 312, come on in, man. You still with us?
Yes, I am, brother. Thank you for coming
all
back
right.
to me.
All right. What's on your mind?
Well, I firmly agree with everything that is being said. As like Brother Yoel said, we need to do more investigation here in the Americas, on our continent. Is what Anthony Browder's tours showed, that these quote-unquote founding fathers were taught by the Moors, educated by the Moors. Benjamin Banneker laid out D.C., yet our people here don't know this kind of this information. And it's a damn shame that we don't. But as somebody said, actually Dr. John Henry Clark, I say to that ancestor, he said that the oppressor is not going to give you keys to your freedom. We can't wait on them. We can't keep sending our kids to their academic schools, because as we all know, you're not learning the truth. You're learning what they want you to know. And no people whose history is nothing but wanton warfare, carnage, murder, cannibalism, homosexuality, all kind of deviant behavior, is going to want to see how great you are. They do everything to bring you down from the greatness that you once had. I had a conversation with a brother about this a while ago. You know, we say that we have advanced because we're only looking at our history from a period from the enslavement to today. So it does look like it's an advance. However, when you look at the true timeline of humanity, and go back to ancient Kemet, go back to Koch, the ancient lands, Punt, these places in Africa, there was also these places here in the Americas. As I said, Ursa Ma'at, Sentepen Rock, the Subiti that they call Ramesses, came here and built things here. Just like the city of Eredo, Professor Kaba Kamene taught about. The white man loved these places so much that he tore them down because he couldn't build them. Enjoyed them, stole as much as he could from us, and then tore down the evidence of what was there and who built it. If it hadn't have been for researchers like Professor Williams and John Jackson, Dr. Yusuf Ben Yoakinim, John Henry Clark, I would still be lost in the sauce. And I'm thankful for these men, these great men, also great women who have also taken up the cause of researching and telling our truth. Dr. Francis Quest Wells wrote The Ice Pick Blue, the doors off about what melanin is, what melanin does. This is the kind of information we got to get out people. And I thank you for having this broadcast. I'm walking my dog right now, so I'm going to mute this because I know it's going to be loud.
Okay. All right, my brother. I'm going to go ahead and mute it. We're going to roll on. All right. Now, Brother Yoel, you still with me?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm so excited because based on this new project that we're doing, I'm accumulating information 9,000 from around the world, and I see people not only in different countries in Africa, but I see our faces all over the world. I'm discovering places in islands and villages and lands and stuff that I never heard of, never been broadcasted ever in my life, but this information is coming out. It's just like you're saying, the new information is being dug up and it's being exposed. We're in the age of Aquarius, and you're absolutely correct. But this is the most phenomenal thing that I've ever seen in my life. It's super fantastic, and you know, if I was ever asked if I wanted to be somebody other than what I am, I said, man, you don't get out of my face, I'll slap you down. How in the world I'm going to move away from this kind of greatness? No. Impossible.
Mm-hmm.
The brothers, I mean, they all over everywhere, man, all down in it. Because see, what happens is what we're being shown worldwide is everybody that don't look like you. You don't see on TV the sisters and brothers in Puerto Rico.
Mm-hmm.
Only thing you see is the light ones. You don't see the brothers and sisters down in Mexico. The only thing you see is the light ones. Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, and there are beaches that you didn't even know exist. There are hospitals and things that is brothers have built with their hands in these lands, the service in the whole community. Amazing. I never knew these things exist, but based on the research and that we're doing now in gathering this information, and so our children and grandchildren and great-great-grands can actually see this stuff and know that, you know, somebody tell me, well, you know, we're doing something for minorities. I said, well, you mean tell me you're doing something for white folks? Because I'm not a minority. I'm not asking the United States government to give me 40 acres and a mule. What I would like for the United States government to do for me, based on what I know now, give me rent and give me back rent all the way back from for the first time you set foot on this land. Give me taxes and give me back taxes all the way back from the first time you set foot on my land. And if you are unwilling to do that or you can't do that, get off of my land. That's the way I see it now, based on what I know now.
Okay.
So what I would like to encourage the brothers and sisters to do is go ahead and do your research. You got a ton of information right there on YouTube, the books that's offered and stuff. And I want to ask you, Brother Yoel, do you have the book Tracing Your Family's Genealogical History by Records by a man named Dane Calloway?
Do
you have that book?
No, and I'm not. It seemed to have been independently published, so I'm not sure who's publishing it. It seemed to be about less than 100 pages, but somewhere around a price that I saw out there was somewhere around $35. But I would have to investigate and see if I can maybe get in touch with him and see if that book is actually selling for $34.95. Or is that just those people who are listing his book for $34.95, and it can be acquired for cheaper than that? Hopefully it's cheaper than that, because 92 pages is not that much.
All right. Well, I looked online today, and the price that I seen, Amazon carried it for $31.95, but I refused to buy the book before we do the broadcast, because I wanted to get with you and see if you was carrying the book or if you were familiar with Dane Calloway, because the young man, he's got a ton of videos right over there on YouTube, and in my personal opinion, this guy is thorough and awesome on our ancient story right here in the Americas. And I mean, you ought to see this stuff here. And he's got paintings, but I like the photographs that he's showing what we actually look like, and I'm wondering where have these photographs come from? Because I remember, you remember the books, Without Sanctuary, Lynching Photography in America. You remember that? Where these two white guys went up in this old house and they found this trunk, and they'll go not only all the photographs of the lynchings and murders of our people in the United States, but the actual receipts showing where one man bought another human being, and it had the receipts and stuff, and they published them in that book, and it was one lady that had that book. And when I seen the receipts in there, the first thing popped in my mind, I said, oh my goodness, that's a massive lawsuit. And so I asked if I could borrow the book. She wouldn't let me get the book. She said, I got to hold on to this book. So what I did is I went down to the bookstore downtown, to this little white bookstore, and the lady said, I don't have the book, a Jewish woman. And she said, but I ordered the book for you. I said, okay. And so she went ahead and ordered it. And I called down there, and nobody answered the phone, so finally I went back down there, and she came out and she said, I can't get the book. I said, you can't get the book?
What book is this?
She said, no. It's called Without Sanctuary, Lynching Photography in America.
You could have called me for that one, Dan.
But I didn't know you during the time. I didn't even have a radio program. Okay. But anyway, what I did, let me tell you what I did, man, and this broke my heart. I went over to the Nation of Islam. They got a little bookstore right down here on Myrtle Avenue. They had the book. I went in there, I bought the book. And I went home. What I was going to do is I want to get all the photographs of the actual receipts. Because you remember I told you about contract law. Actual receipts showing one human being buying another human being. That was going to be the basis for my lawsuit, class action lawsuit against the United States for crimes against humanity. But when I got the book and got home, I thumbed through the book. There go all the pictures in the books. And I'm looking for the receipts. Where the receipts at? They've been removed. I said, I been doggone. Boy, you tell me somebody was mad, and I got mad. I said, who did it? Did the Nation of Islam do it? Who did it? Well, I got it right here on my shelf right now. And, man, I looked through the book. I never read the book, didn't want to read it. The only thing I wanted out of the book was the receipt so we can go to war. But I never got it. But anyway, I gave up on it. But the woman who had the first copy that I seen, she had the receipts in the book, but she would not give me that book. It was a sister. She wouldn't turn it loose. I said, I'll give you $100 for the book. She said, no, you keep your money. I got to hold on to the book. I can't give you the book. I said, just give it to me, man. Give me, I got the gun. Give me the bullet. Let me hold it a minute. But anyway, I'm going to go back down here and see what this brother got to say before I go to the next segment.
Well, you know what?
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
First of all, that book was done just like this book called 100 Years of Lynching. I understand the first printing of that book also contained pictures in it, but they took those pictures out subsequently later. Okay, now the book you get today don't have pictures in it. So my book that I got right now without sanctuary doesn't have receipts in it. Apparently they printed it with receipts at first, and then they took it out later. You know, so but I have a question that I like to ask you, Professor Williams, to answer. If I go out and take over a territory, let's say Chicago. If I go out and take over Chicago and a few other places, and would it be considered sane for me then to turn around and name that town after the people I killed and maimed and kicked out or destroyed in those areas? Or would that be normal behavior? Because the reason I ask that is because it seems like most of our states are named after the people that they annihilated, pretty much, or tried to annihilate. You know, like Illinois is named after the Illinoisans. You know, Floridans, the Ohioans, after the Native American or the Aboriginal people of those territories. Why would this man name something after people that he destroyed? That's my question.
So, I'm here. So you got to remember what this man's mindset is all about. You got to understand something about spirituality. You got to understand about his knowledge of himself, and you got to understand about his knowledge of other people, which he has no knowledge of other people, doesn't he care about other people. He's a psychopath. A psychopath is supposed to be institutionalized and medicated and kept away from all other human beings. Psychopath. He's uncivilized. Spiritually dead. That's my answer to you.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. You ever, Brother Yoel, you ever heard or ever seen, I don't know if you ever go on YouTube, but you ever heard this young lady called Amber Ruffin?
No.
Okay, well, what she does, she hosts this little, well, she got her own show and stuff like this, but this young lady here, she showed us all of these towns all across America, including the two settlements in the place now that we know of called Hemming Park, where we had our own towns and stuff in there, and they came in there, and the first one they destroyed and put a lake over it, and the other one destroyed, and finally they built Hemming Park, but it was never broadcast to us, and she said all these years she's going out of town and never knew that Hemming Park belonged to us. And all these others, and these towns are underwater today. They're still down there. The town, the people buried in these people are rowing motorboats and fishing all over, right down there in these waters, which originally belonged to us, right there in Central Park. And all over the United States, the same thing happened. They bury these towns and make lakes and rivers and stuff out of the people in the towns and all this stuff right under there, and they wipe it away from history. This is it, man. Okay. This kind of stuff makes me very, very angry. Her name is Amber Ruffin. You can go right there on YouTube and type her name in. You see her come up, and she come out with this thing, where's all the missing towns? And she...
Amber Ruffin?
Yeah, Amber Ruffin. Yeah. You can see it right there on YouTube. And, you know, I've been taking this stuff and throwing it on
R-U-F-F-I-N?
Yeah, just like David Ruffin with the Temptations. Amber, A-M-B-E-R.
Okay, I got you.
But I've seen this stuff, man. It's incredible. But that's a part of our curriculum and stuff, and the storage of knowledge and stuff to pass on to our children and stuff. And the best way to dispense this knowledge is to you can set up homeschooling. You got these daycares around here with these people. With your babies in these daycares, they are acting as babysitters, but what needs to happen, they need to not only be babysitters, but they also need to be teaching and teaching the children, and but from our perspective. You understand what I'm saying? And so that's this kind of stuff that we're working on here, because see, I've said over and over and over to people, you have to understand how the brain works. The brain takes a continuous series of photographs using your eyes as lenses only. It is the brain that is taking the picture. And when you are constantly watching TV and you're seeing the image of someone else and something else and somebody else's culture and a whole pack of lies and stuff, all this is being recorded by your brain. But when you grab control of your brain, control of the information that goes in your brain, you have a whole different perspective. And then when you do, then you'll stop asking for freedom, justice, and equality in America. You're going to take it. That's the way I see it. Once you come into the knowledge of truth and you remove the shackles of religion from you, and then find out who it was that enslaved you, who it was that done this, that, and the other, then you act differently toward it. You got to get loud and raise no standards, very, very calmly, get your skills, get your tools, it's going to work. But anyway, let me open up this brother line down here again, see if he's going to stop walking the dog. Brother, you still out there with that dog? What you doing, man? 312, come on.
No, I'm back, brother. Thank you for having me back. Yeah, I'm not the walking dog anymore. I firmly agree with everything that's said here on this podcast. Really, I'm almost 60 years old, and a lot of this information I came upon in my mid-40s. All before that, nothing into this black brain, into this consciousness, but white thought, because that's all we were being exposed to for the longest. For the most part, for the main population of blacks. Of course, there was a growing consciousness of the truth because of people like Professor Williams, who said, wait a minute, this stuff just don't add up, and went to digging. And the deeper you dig, the blacker it gets. Professor Obata Shaka is also on YouTube. He every Saturday at noon, he does a lecture, and his last two segments were about the Swahili people that were the original inhabitants of the planet, populated all over Pangea, post breakup and before the breakup. We don't know that. We keep looking at insanity like Will Smith fiasco, Snouye. I mean, this is crazy. It's time, in this time, age of Aquarius, the new awakening, that we dispel all these lies, celebrate the truth, and give it to our children so that they can be empowered with their ancestors to
battle was coming ahead. I mean, all over the news, we're hearing about Russia bombing Ukraine. Well, I celebrate that. You know, that's like Malcolm said, chicken coming home to roost. But at the time that the invasion of Ukraine began, Biden drone bombed Somalia. That didn't make the news. None of that was talked about. So look at the mindset of the Caucasian. He's ashamed of his ancestors, but they celebrate. So we should celebrate our ancestors. We should celebrate our ancestors. Reclaim, like you said, no, I don't want reparations. Give me my country back. Give me what my ancestors did. Give me back the profits, the riches, and the glory of everything that my ancestors did all over the planet. And we can start there. And if you want to have a relationship with me as a black man, Caucasian, that's where we should start. Get back to where you were. And that's all I got to say about that.
Okay, brother. I certainly appreciate your input, man. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to my third segment with Anthony T. Browder. And after I'm done, then I need to know what your comments about that. So y'all hold on a minute. But before we get to that, we're going to go and take a little commercial break again. So y'all hold on a minute. And after we all said and done, we'll be back, okay?
Real estate is booming today. Well, one thing I learned a long time ago about mortgages and foreclosures. The real estate market goes in cycles, up and down. The best thing to do is get out of that type of situation early. The U.S. corporation is still operating in a bankrupt state today. Make no mistake about it. When it comes to your home, the bank has no skin in the game. When you sign for your home, it was paid for. Learn how to do that. The IRS is a private-for-profit corporation. Learn how to deal with that. Go to TarhakaDebtElimination.org. That's TarhakaDebtElimination.org. How do you discharge debt? How do you write it up? What do you do? Learn how to do that. Contact me, Tarhaka Amana El Bey. Go to TarhakaDebtElimination.org. Peace. Hi, I'm Tarhaka. By January the 26th or 28th, 2022, the U.S. government corporation will begin calling for full payment of student loan debt again. The pause will be over. Don't wait until the last minute. Get out of debt now. You have plenty of time now. Go to www.TarhakaDebtElimination.org. That's TarhakaDebtElimination.org. It's just like someone filing bankruptcy. After you have filed and the deadline arrives, you still owe the debt. It's a scam. Go to TarhakaDebtElimination.org. Contact me, Tarhaka, for what you need to solve the problem. Peace. Don't wait. Act now.
Okay, everybody, let me bring back up the fact that on Sunday, May the 15th, 2022, at 3 p.m., right down here in Jacksonville, Florida, Professor Griff and Dr. Scott Whitaker will be here. And for those of you who are anywhere near close down here, this is where you need to be at. Right here, Sunday, May the 15th, at 3 p.m., Dr. Scott Whitaker and Professor Griff will be down here to the Scottish Rite Temple, 29 West 6th Street, Jacksonville, Florida. Okay? Don't miss this event. For ticket information, contact Brother Umar Sharif, area code 904-438-8511. Don't miss it. This is going to be a blast, all right? Okay.
Point. And that is that you said that, in essence, because of racism and those Egyptologists who came in the early in the 20th century, that they if I'm understanding you correctly, that they changed reality. They rewrote what was previously documented history to tell the world that Africans didn't do what Africans had certified and validated through their writings and through their narrative that had been done. Is there proof? Can you give an example of sort of that sort of subterfuge?
Sure. Perfect example is James Henry Breasted, one of the foremost Egyptologists in American history. It was Breasted who founded the Oriental Institute at the University of Chicago. Around 1919, Breasted wrote an incredible book that documented his travels in Egypt and described the ancient Egyptians as dark-skinned people with woolly hair who were not unlike the Nubians who live in Egypt now. Well, this book was called Ancient Times, and it was a favorite book of John D. Rockefeller. He read it to his children all the time. And then Rockefeller decided to fund Breasted, gave him $1.5 million to establish the Oriental Institute at the University of Chicago. But he also had caveats with that contribution, in that in the second edition of Ancient Times, which was published around 1935, Breasted removed all references to the ancient Egyptians as being dark-skinned people, and he added a new chapter where he said that they were members of the Great White Race. And he described this area, the quadrant of the world where the Great White Race rose and developed everything that became a significant part of civilization. Now, that's one example. But there's George Reisner, who excavated in Sudan, and so many others who saw the historical truth, saw that black people who have been marginalized in this country and around the world, who have been enslaved because Pope Eugenius IV said that black people had no soul. So people did not look upon us as people who created anything of value. So I can understand how racists would say, oh no, well, these buildings could not have been built by black people. They don't have intelligence. These black people could not have written these great scripts. So they were operating under a false system of white superiority. So when they were confronted with the historical reality, they suffered what's referred to in psychology as an identity quake, cognitive dissonance. They couldn't connect the dots, so they fabricated historical lies. And so the work that we're currently engaged in right now is to tell the truth. We are literally digging up the truth, and the truth speaks for itself.
Okay, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. We'll open back up the phone lines. Dr. Walter Williams, are you still with us?
Yes, sir. Yes, Brother Tarhaka. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You're coming across loud and clear. I got to ask you a question. Could you define for us what is cognitive dissonance? Are you familiar with that one?
I've heard that word, but actually I don't know. I can't give you a clear meaning of it because I don't use that word. But I've heard it.
Okay.
So I don't know.
All right. Well, I'm going to go down here to Brother Yoel and open up his line and see what he say about it. Brother Yoel, are you familiar with the word cognitive dissonance? Could you tell us what that is for the listening audience? Are you familiar with it? You with us, brother? Okay, he may have stepped away from the phone.
Okay, yeah, I'm here.
All right.
I'm here.
I'm back at you. Okay.
I believe that is where one thought or one belief is in your head, and then it is faced head on with another belief, or as they say, truth sounds strange to one who's been told a lie all his life. In other words, they contradict each other, and you at an impasse, and you don't know which one to believe or what to believe. Is that the definition you're talking about?
Well, I got the best definition I ever heard of it. It was coming from the sister that wrote the book, the post-traumatic disorder, post-traumatic syndrome. You know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And
yes, Joy
described, Joy DeGruber. Okay. But before I give the definition that I got from him, I'm open up the brother's phone line down here, and I appreciate your answer on that. 312. Cognitive dissonance.
Cognitive dissonance is when two opposing thoughts are in a brain. One that you held a belief, like Brother Joel said, a belief system or body of knowledge that you held on to as true, and then you get hit with something that contradicts that. It creates a schism in the brain, and the person is unable to function correctly. Because of that, those two conflicting thought systems. As we said, Dr. Jordan, who wrote the book Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, fantastic book, explaining behaviors that come about in us as black people because of cognitive dissonance. As you look at the history of black people here in these Americas, post-1492, when Christopher R. Colon came here, and like the barbarism all throughout the Western Indies, we have been indoctrinated to get on our knees mentally, spiritually, and physically to a thought system that grew out of Isaac living. These people that we call Caucasians, the Europeans, they existed in a state of lack, not having adequate food, nothing green to eat, no sunshine for centuries, pretty dire existence. So their thinking is going to be taking everything they can, everything that is good, and enforcing their will upon us. And that's where the cognitive dissonance comes in, because we've been indoctrinated to believe that black is something bad, black is lacking this or lacking that. And now when you get hit with the realization that black is the totality of everything, it's the culmination of everything, it's that substance from which creation sprang forth. You know, that's like getting hit with a left and a right by Mike Tyson. You know, you, bam, bam. What one do I fall to? And that's what's occurring to us as a people. That's why such conferences like the Happy Conference of One Africa that's going on in Detroit next weekend is so crucial to our people. I encourage everyone, if you can, to film it live or go to it. The elders that are going to be there, the knowledge that they're going to impart, is something I think all our people should be hearing. And it's a great time to be alive to be black. It really is. To see our people getting up off of their knees, to have revolutionary thoughts, therefore you can have a revolutionary action, because your thoughts dictate your actions. It's been a long time coming, and I'm so glad to be alive now. That's what I got. That's pretty much what I had. Hello? Hello? Well,
can you hear me?
I don't know. Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
All right.
I didn't want to run too long. I just.
Well, no. This is fine, man. That's fine. I appreciate your answer. Just think for a minute, y'all. Okay. For years and years and years, the churches jumping up and shouting, people in there, and you hear them all down the road about Jesus and God and what God and Jesus have done for me, and Jesus has blessed me to get a brand new job, and God had done this right here. and if one for God, so and so and so and so would happen. But all of a sudden, here come a pandemic because somebody said it was a pandemic. Now, I know what a pandemic is. If you want to see a pandemic in real life, all you got to do is look at the, do an investigation on the Black Death of Europe. You'll see what pandemic. But this thing here came through the media. You need to put on a mask. You need to be 6 foot apart. And you need to get a vaccine and another vaccine and then a booster and then another vaccine and another booster. And then this vaccine got a variant, and then we got another part of the vaccine that's coming out, and we got 900 people dying a day across the United States. And people on the airplane, you got to wear a mask, and all this right here. But guess what now? The government of the United States say you got to shut down your church. And those who are unwilling to shut down the church, including the pastor, we're going to put you in jail. So churches start closing all across the United States. But then the government said that. Now, my question is, where was Jesus? You mean to tell me the government, you got Jesus, but the government say, you know, above him and God, you don't shut down that church, I'm gonna lock you up. So the church got shut down. Then the same government come back later, and here go the cognitive dissident. Here it come. You open up a church now, you back in the church because white folks said so, and you talking about the same Jesus, and we need you to put some more money in the collection plate because Jesus is going to save you, and God works in mysterious ways and all this right here. So my question is, when this man jumped up and said, you shut that church down and you going to jail, you shut it down, but why didn't you tell him, well, look, Jesus say it ain't no pandemic. Jesus gonna protect us from the virus. You didn't do that. You shut the church down. And now that the same government came along and said, open the church doors back up, you don't open the church doors back up, and now you trying to tell me about Jesus. Amazing. Now, we're down to 17 minutes. Let me get everybody's opinion on that. I'll open up all 3 phone lines. Dr. Williams, what you think about that, man?
Well, I understand what you're saying. There's some merit to what you're saying. That's what you're saying. So, I agree with you. You know, let me put this in. I'm finishing up a book. My deceased wife and I bringing out African. And that book is called Dispelling Myths. And in Dispelling Myths of the first chapter is the repudiation of the Hyksos. The second chapter, I have a warning in there to all African scholars, teachers, intellectuals, and students. Do not use the chronology of ancient Egypt as is written today. Why? Because the ancient Egyptians, our ancestors, our African ancestors, did not write a history of themselves. Okay, so therefore you cannot come forth and bring a chronology of ancient Egypt. It's misleading. And I have 4 examples as to bring you the information as to what I'm talking about when I say it's misleading. Because the chronology of ancient Egypt, as is written today, along with the pyramid text, etc., come from Western academia. And the chronology of ancient Egypt, Western academia used the Bible to bring each dynasty what they're talking about from a book that I got that's dated 1867. In that book, they said that the first dynasty was 2188 BC. The first king of Egypt was Mesram. Well, see, Mesram is the son of Ham. Ham is the son of Noah. Noah had three sons, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. All three sons are supposed to be bringing forth what is known as the family and table of nations. That's biblical. So that's something that never happened. That's mythology. And they'll tell you from each dynasty where you can find what you just read about that dynasty in the Bible. So this book I'm bringing out with this warning in there. It's not to use the chronology of ancient Egypt or the pyramid text. Now, my wife was writing a chapter on something that's very important that I've never seen anyone write on. I gave her this assignment to write about the Sumerian cuneiform writings expose that. So she did 3 years of research, but it's in her computer. And I had a guy who's a computer expert. He came and dug her chapter out, but I got to go in there and sort it out and straighten it out, see if I can make it flow where the reader can understand. But anyway, this book I'm very excited about. That I'm working on it every day. I'm going to hope to have it publish it this year. There's lots of information in there, a whole lot of information. So I want to bring it to the general public to be on the lookout for my new book, Expelling Myths of Ancient Egypt. That's what I have to say to that, Brother Tarhaka. Are you going to give us a chance to talk about how
audience
to contact
get your book?
Huh?
How can the listening audience get your books?
Well, they can't get it because it's not out yet. I'm working on it.
I'm talking about the books that you've already written.
Oh, okay. The listening audience can get the 2 books I've already written. The first book is called The Historical Origin of Christianity. The thesis of that book is saying that there's never been a man that ever walked the earth in human form of any race, creed, or color by the name of Jesus Christ never existed. That book has been out for 29 years now. And my second book is called The Historical Origin of Islam, whereby the thesis of that book is saying that there's never been a man that ever walked the earth in human form of any race, creed, or color by the name of the Prophet Muhammad of Islamic tradition. That book has been out for 19 years. And you can get both of my books. You can order my books through Brother Yoel. He's got a bookstore right here in Chicago. He's one of my distributors. He can be reached at area code 773 768 8869 773 768 8869, the Underground Bookstore. Or you can, whatever town or city that you live in, go to your local African bookstore and order from there if they don't have it on the shelf. Or go to Barnes & Noble, you can get it. Or you can go online to Amazon and get it. So there's many ways to get my book without going through a whole lot of changes. So I just want to let the audience know about my new and upcoming book that I'm going to hope to get out this year. I'm working on it every day, get that book out, because there's a lot of information in this book dispelling myths of ancient Egypt. It's a lot of information. And it'll clear up a whole lot of historical lies, I put it like that. And it'll put you right back on the track. I'm talking about our African people in the African community. So that's what I have to say at this point.
All right, Dr. Williams, I tell you what, I certainly appreciate you being on the broadcast, and we did a fantastic job of going down here to Brother Yoel so he can give us all his contact information and tell us what's going on with him. Appreciate it, man. Brother Yoel.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Let us have it.
That's me. Okay, well, it's been plum pleasing pleasures to be on the broadcast tonight, or a podcast with everyone tonight, and I appreciate you and the listening audience. Those people, I had a brother call me earlier today, in fact, and he was trying to figure out whether it was today or next week, and he didn't have the new number. So I hope he was able to find that number. He said something about he tried to go to your website and find it, but he had a problem, I guess. But he didn't call me back, so I hope he found the call-in number and call in. But I'm here in Chicago, in the wonderful city of Chicago, the cold city of Chicago, and we're trying to impart information to the people here in Chicago through Underground Bookstore, as Professor Williams just stated. And Underground Bookstore is located at 1727 East 87th Street in Chicago, and the phone number is 773-768-8869. Email theundergroundbookstore@gmail.com or undergroundbookstore1@gmail.com. So both of those email address, you can email us any concerns or about any kind of books you're looking for, specifically those hard-to-get books. We like to go fishing for people to try to find in those kind of books that they are looking for out there that they can't find themselves. So we kind of specialize in that. But lastly, let me just make a comment about Professor Williams here. He never seems to amazes me with that memory he got. I mean, he make me look like I'm 90 and he's 60. because I forget more than he does on any given day.
Okay.
And I'm just amazed at that memory. So I just wanted to say that because it's always coming up and it's never really falling short of him recalling anything in his past and stuff like that. And I have a problem with that kind of stuff sometimes myself, So anyway, thank you, Tarhaka, again, and thanks to the listening audience.
All right. Thank you for being aboard, Brother Yoel. And I'll be getting back with you when you get the book that we discussed about tracing your family genealogically, history, and by record by Dane Calloway. Let me know. And I'll get that book from you as soon as you call me.
Okay. Gotcha.
All right, my brother. Let me go down here to area code 312. And cause we're winding down now, and we only have 5 minutes. 312, closing statements.
Closing statement. I'm thankful for Professor Williams, and I'm definitely looking forward to his new book. I have both his other two books. I bought them from the Underground Bookstore. I encourage every listener to reach out to Brother Yoel. The wealth of information that he has on hand at the bookstore is phenomenal, and that he has reaches to get those books that people have been looking for is also phenomenal. We have to get this information out to our people. Brother Tarhaka, I thank you for the work that you're doing. Listening audience, continue to listen. Continue to grow. Continue to doubt what you've been taught in public school systems. They're lies. There's nothing but lies. As Professor Williams said, Jesus never existed. Muhammad never existed. Even in the Bible, Galatians chapter 14, it tells you that Abraham, Hagar, and Sarai are allegory, which means if they were allegory, they're myth, they didn't exist, then the Hebrew nation does not exist. So throw that Bible out and look at what your ancestors wrote, what they carved in stone, what they put on papyri. One thing I disagree with, a lot of historians say that the Committee didn't document their history. Well, they wrote about what was going on around them at that time. That is their history. That is our history. And there needs to be more people who read the metal ledger, who, there's another disagreement I know about that, but who continue to further research, because as we keep digging, we're going to find new stuff, new information that is old information that's just been hidden from us. So take those veils off your eyes, family, and walk in the sun. I'm done.
All right, brother. I appreciate you being on. And ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, we're going to put this in video. This show will be up on YouTube. As soon as I get it, I won't be able to do it tomorrow because I got to cook collard greens. But anyway, as soon as I'm done, probably do it while I'm doing that. But anyway, we'll be coming back in the future with some more broadcasts. And don't forget to grow your own food and educate your children from their perspective. They need to see in their lives, they need to see what's in their culture. And then you do an investigation on everything you can learn about yourself and your own culture and everything about where you are right here in the United States. This is your land. Don't take my word for it. Do an investigation. 40 acres and a mule, you can keep that. Just pay me from when you set foot on my land. That's just the way I see it. But nevertheless, we come to the close of the broadcast. I certainly appreciate everybody for being here. I've been your host, Tarhaka Amana LB. Until next time, y'all have a good day.
Desert.